Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and throw up that classic headphone warning for this video. I just got some crazy news, and I will be getting loud. HBO has just announced the House of the Dragon. We did find out that Blood Moon was no longer moving forward, as we all knew it was gonna be a rehash of the Long Night. But we're moving forward with another prequel successor series. This time with George R. R. Martin at the helm. House of the Dragon has not only been ordered officially by HBO for a pilot, but also a 10-episode first season. In this video, I want to quickly run through what some of the main plot points will be of this new successor series, and also how soon we'll be able to see this on screen. Now before we get started, please slap a like on this video, as the like goal is going to be a 1,420. Also, make sure you're subscribed, and then this is the most important part. Make sure you have your notifications turned on so that way you get alerted every single time I drop a video. Long night! Now the big difference between this video and like the 5 or 6 other videos I've made on successor and prequel shows that we found out about, 2 years ago, is that this one has actually been ordered to film an entire season. All the other ones were just sort of stuck in the pilot phase, which means that you're given like a certain budget and you have to put together a sort of like a rough edit for a first episode. Usually we never get to view pilots, and what we see on screen when a show first airs is actually sort of like a polished version of something that has several episodes that have already been filmed with a story already in mind. I'm almost positive in the next few weeks, maybe a month at most, we're gonna start getting casting announcements, and we all knows what follows after that. Filming season, meaning Sir Hunts will be going back in full swing and covering all the secret leaks and details that come out about the show. I mean, that's just part of the fandom at this point. We get to speculate on what the show is about and get to have these immaculate theories in our mind before the show even be. Maybe we shouldn't do that with this one. Maybe that's part of the thing that happened with season 8. I don't know. You all let me know down below in the comment section if you think part of the reason why the season 8 finale was perceived the way it was is because we knew so much about it beforehand. Now, before I forget, make sure you go follow HBO on Twitter so you find out the latest news when it comes to casting information and when they're gonna put like a timeline on the show. And while you're at it, follow me too at Sir_Hunts. Just from the information we've been given so far, the timeline on the show will likely be hitting our screens in early 2021, maybe even a possible late 2020. I mean, not really, unless they started filming like within the next few weeks. I know they're gonna take their time with this, and we all know perfection takes time. The budget will be huge, and let's face it, this show is called House of the Dragon, and it will contain dragons. I would not be surprised if within the very first season there is some sort of massive dragon battle to sort of cap everything off. Hell, even in the first episode, we'll probably get some dragons fighting. This is a Game of Thrones successor, so those dragons fighting may be supplemented with naked giant, all-natural beautiful titties, but please believe that fire and blood will be had not only from the first episode, but all the way until the 10th episode. And all that is going to take time. Hell, we haven't even really heard any casting news at all, so we don't know who's going to be the lead. I do know that Fire and Blood Part 2 is set to be released within the next year, so there may be some sort of story from the first part of Fire and Blood that we haven't heard the real conclusion of that'll happen in Part 2, and they'll have this massive source material. Like, Fire and Blood is basically a Bible, and if you haven't read it, check out the link down below in the description and go and buy that off of Amazon, or check out the audiobook. You need to start studying up on it. And if you're watching this video and you like my content, you're probably thinking, well, Sir Hunts, this is perfect. You can start making... I've already started doing it. I'm going to start releasing those next month in November, my Fire and Blood companion series, starting with part 1, and it will be in a podcast format with another Ice and Fire YouTuber. That was one giant ramble. But on a side note there, as far as casting details, once we start seeing which actors are going to be playing which major roles and who all get seen on the filming sets and what those sets look like, that's when we're going to know what time period in Fire and Blood this new series is going to be taking place. The first part of Fire and Blood alone covers an insane amount of material. I mean, just in part 1, we have the Targaryen conquest. That starts off with Aegon the Conqueror taking over Westeros. And I sort of feel like the show won't start during that time period, because that may be a rehash of season 8, sort of just how Daenerys conquered Westeros. Aegon goes around and does the same thing. Maybe we'll get flashbacks to Aegon's conquest, and the series will start with Aegon on his deathbed, and the series will pick up with someone like Maegor the Cruel, which is a ridiculously famous Targaryen who was so evil they put cruel in his damn title. We could also have other time periods that cover, you know, more towards a different sort of setting that will kind of be like a whole new series, which is known in the book as the Heirs of the Dragon, and it really focuses on Jaehaerys the Conciliator's time, which is like 50 to 100 years after Aegon the Conquest. Oh my, it's like my favorite chapters in the books to read. It would be really like a dream come true if they chose to focus on this time frame, because it really shows the Targaryens at the height of their power, and then right after that, you know, it could sort of be in the later seasons, is the decline. Like, obviously the show is going to adapt Fire and Blood parts 1 and 2, so it's not going to have every single moment, but it could sort of speed things along a little bit, and we could maybe get the Dance of the Dragons as a series finale. But I don't want to spend too much on that little part in this video, because like I said, I have a Fire and Blood full out series coming out next month. But once Fire and Blood part 2 comes out, I'm pretty sure we're going to have the full history of House Targaryen, so it would be cool to get sort of like a mixed up storyline, kind of like what they did with the Game of Thrones show, where they gave certain plot points to other characters just to sort of keep us guessing and on our toes. But some other news that actually came along with the full 10 episode first season is that George R. Martin is going to be having a heavy hand in this show. He actually told us last month that he was super excited about this Fire and Blood. You know, this is one of the prequel successor shows that they had been working on for a year, and about a month ago he had told us in his Not a Blog post that he was super excited about this Targaryen successor show and that it was almost close to being greenlit. And now that that's officially been confirmed, I'm sure the man is ecstatic. But we also have news of someone named Ryan Condal, who's going to be the showrunner. I've never really heard of this dude, but he's done shows like The Colony or something. I'm sure you could look him up on Google or some shit down below. But my next super excited addition to the showrunner sort of thing, and he's going to be directing a few episodes in the first season, is Miguel Sapochnik. He's the man who brought us the Battle of the Bastards. So you best believe there will be some insane battles that will be happening with dragons in the sky and fire and fucking blood. I mean, literally, the show is called House of the Dragon. This is like a wet dream come true. Like, you don't understand how big of an orgasm I had when I was reading this post on Deadline.com. I've actually linked that down below in the description, so you can go read that article in full. But this seems like a good as point as any to wrap up a video. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you could please slap a like on this video. The like goal is going to be 1,420. Also, please go ahead and subscribe, and then turn your notifications on so that way you get alerted every single time I drop a video throughout this long night. Super special shout out to every single person watching. There's a super special thank you to every single member of my Patreon family over on patreon.com/SirHuntsReviews. I want to thank you all again so much for watching. My name's Mark, and this has been Sir Hunt's Reviews. Happy Halloween.